Hey guys, welcome back to the DrCliffAuD vlog. This is vlog number 87, and I'm having a much better week this week, to be honest with you. Last week was really rough, especially with all the really negative comments that a lot of people left on my channel. First and foremost, I think that the way that the clinic is with kind of our staff turnover is largely due to me, and then largely due to variables that we couldn't control, things that were not influenced by the consultant because we hadn't really been working with the consultant yet. The consultant came in, did an evaluation, has not implemented any change whatsoever inside of the clinic. And so it was interesting to see everyone's comments about how consultants just destroy everything. Nonetheless, we started finally working with the consultant. We had our first meeting with her, I think it was last Thursday, and we went over our different personality profiles, which is really what I want to get into today. Really kind of interesting stuff, to be honest with you. And I'm actually going to bring my computer over here because I want to pull up my personality profile. You guys might find this interesting, you might not. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and put this up on the screen, but I want to read through a couple of these sections. And just so you know, this entire report that I'm basically screen sharing with you, I'm going to have the whole report linked down in the description. So you guys can actually check this out if you want to for yourself, and you can learn literally everything about me. So just to give you an idea, the consultant, the first thing that she had us do is actually fill out this personality profile. So it asks you a bunch of different, scenarios, like what type of person are you in this situation? If this was you, which way would you lean in terms of, is this defining you a lot? Is this nothing like you? And then after you get through the whole thing, it basically identifies what type of personality that you are and actually explains things about you. So I'm just going to kind of read over this really quick. So what is everything DISC? So DISC is this actual profile assessment that we did. So it says, Clifford, have you ever wondered why connecting with some people is easier for you than with others? Maybe you've noticed that you relate better to colleagues who focus more on creating momentum and inspiring others. Or maybe you're more comfortable working with those who take a spontaneous, energetic approach than those who work at a steadier, more cautious pace. Or perhaps you relate best to people who are more expressive than restrained. Welcome to Everything DISC Workplace. The DISC model is a simple tool that's been helping people to connect better over 30 years. This report uses your individual assessment data to provide a wealth of information about your workplace priorities and preferences. In addition, you'll learn how to connect better with colleagues whose priorities and preferences differ from yours. So a quick overview here. There are 4 main different types of personalities. You have the dominant type of personality, you have the influence type of personality, the conscientiousness personality, and the steadiness personality. And everyone in the office did one of these DISC profiles, and we were able to see what type of characteristics those individuals had based on their type of personality. Now, the overall concept here is that when you have members on your team, you want to make sure that you have a blend of these different personality types. Otherwise, you can get too bogged down with too many individuals in one particular personality category, and then things never get done. Whether it's you have too many people who are drivers, who are a dominant force, who just bull in a china shop, just get stuff done, and regardless of whether it's done correctly. You could have a bunch of people who are just steady people who don't want to, create any ripples in the water, and everyone plays it safe, which is great in certain circumstances, but it isn't great if you need to get stuff accomplished. What we found in our office is that the vast majority of individuals that we have on staff find themselves in the S category, so the steadiness category. And the characteristics of that is that they're even-tempered, they're accommodating, they're patient, they're humble, and they're tactful. So that's actually pretty good. Those are a lot of positive traits. But we also need some of the traits from the other categories. Ashley, for instance, she's a very heavy C, so she has a lot of conscientiousness. She's very analytical, she's very reserved, she's very precise, she's private, and she's systematic. I happen to be more of the influencer type. Big surprise, right? So the influence category, the I, is more outgoing, they're enthusiastic, they're optimistic, they're high-spirited, and they're lively. And we actually don't have any dominance category individuals, at least not now, but the Ds tend to be direct, firm, strong-willed, forceful, and results-oriented. Now, to be fair, I have a mixture of the I, which is influence, and the D. It's more I for me, but I do have some of the characteristics of the dominant category. But it's important to note that everybody has a blend of all of these, and being aware of that, you can actually start to structure how you interact with other individuals based on which category you identify them to be in. But what I really want to do is go over my disc overview with you. So you can see the dot here on the screen. I fall into that ID category, and I definitely lean more towards the I, but I'm not like super extreme. If that dot was further out towards the outside rim of that circle, it would mean that I'm very, very predominant in that particular area, but I'm kind of middle of the road influencer slash dominant. So what does this say about me? Well, apparently this report is personalized to me. In order to get the most out of your Everything Disc workplace profile, you'll need to understand how to read your personal map. As you saw on the previous page, Everything Disc model is made up of 4 basic styles, D, I, S, and C. Each style is divided into 3 regions. The picture to the right illustrates the 12 different regions where a person's dot might be located. Your dot location shows your disc style. Because your dot is located in the I region, but is also near the line that borders the D region, you have an ID style. Keep in mind that everyone is a blend of all 4 styles, but most people tend strongly towards 1 or 2 styles. Whether your dot is in the center of one style or in a region that borders 2, no dot location is better than another. All disc styles are equal and valuable in their own ways. Alright, so let me go ahead and show you what my ID style is. Because you have an ID style, Clifford, you're probably a goal-oriented person who seeks exciting breakthroughs. Most likely you want to have the freedom to set your own course, you may be fairly ambitious, and you're probably attracted to high-profile assignments that will allow you to maximize your talents. Most likely you're passionate and expressive, and your enthusiasm may be contagious. You probably have self-assured attitude that many people are drawn to. You may use gestures and anecdotes to emphasize your points, and you tend to speak freely with little concern about filtering your thoughts. You probably show an ability to persuade others to adopt your vision. More often than not, your persuasive powers allow you to work towards your goals by gaining the buy-in of others. However, people who are more analytical may challenge some aspects of your plans that you have left unaddressed. While you're able to create forward momentum in a group, you may prefer to delegate more in-depth responsibilities to others. Like others with the ID style, you're probably active and energetic. Because you prefer variety, you like to have multiple projects on your plate, and you may dislike sitting still for long periods or feeling forced to do monotonous routines. You enjoy the gratification of kicking off a new project, but after the excitement wears off, your interest may wane. Because you enjoy having influence, you may strive to be among the inner circle in an organization. Most likely you want to be heard, and you do your best to make a favorable impression. You appreciate being recognized for your contributions, and you're unlikely to be embarrassed by public recognition. And because you value such compliments, you may be generous with your praise of others. Most likely you enjoy meeting new people and building on your large network of friends and associates. You're probably fairly open to sharing personal information, even with people you've just met. Because you enjoy making connections, you're happy to introduce people who may have common interests. Furthermore, you may embrace opportunities for friendly banter or brainstorming. When conflict arises, you probably try to focus on the positive. In fact, you may even try to brush unpleasant issues under the rug for as long as possible. However, if things become heated, you're more likely to express your feelings than to shut down. While venting your emotions may seem cathartic to you, it may make others around you uncomfortable. You're probably not afraid of the unexpected, and you may enjoy the excitement of being spontaneous. Because you're fairly adventurous, you tend to seize new opportunities, even if it means changing directions. You're open to taking risks and making decisions based on your gut instinct. Because you can be overly optimistic at times, you may dismiss potential obstacles too quickly. Clifford, like others with the ID style, your most valuable contributions to the workplace may include your ability to initiate change, your passion, and your drive towards results. In fact, these are probably some of the qualities that others admire most about you. Now, if you ask me, it's kind of freaky reading this, because that is like me to a T. You know, every time you take one of these personality assessments, you're like, yeah, there's no way they're going to know everything about me. But then you read it, you're like, holy cow, they literally know everything about me. Now, I'm not sure if it's like one of those horoscope things, you know, the horoscopes, when you read them, you're like, oh, that's totally me. But if you read all of them, you're like, oh, you could basically say that about all of them. The crazy thing is that when you start reading others, you start to identify, oh yeah, like you are definitely not like me, you are like you, and it's just kind of crazy. Now, you guys can read through all of this if you want to. How many pages are there? There's like 20 pages inside of here that kind of explains, like, you know, how you interact with others or how you should best interact with others who are not your same style. But the whole concept here is that inside of our clinic, we want to make sure that we have a nice blend of all individuals. We believe that anybody can be trained how to do something, but we need to make sure that we have people sitting on the right seat in the bus. And if they're not in the right seat, we need to put them in the right seat. You know, the types of characteristics that you want with the office manager are different than the characteristics that you want with a front office staff member, or they might be different than what you want to see in a provider or an operations manager. And so over the course of this last week, we actually had a number of interviews, and I'm happy to say that we found our new office manager, and he is fantastic from everything that we can tell. He did a very good job on each of his 3 interviews that we put him through, and he starts basically in a week. So I am super psyched to get him on board. I think it's going to be a nice, you know, shot in the arm, and I just really feel like he's going to be able to kind of bring the whole office together for us to rally around. And I think that I'm going to work really well with him for sure, and I know Ashley's going to work really well with him. We also offered a front office position to an individual who seems to be a fantastic individual. She did great on her multiple interviews as well. And again, one of the main things that we were trying to figure out about these individuals during their interviews was their personality traits, their personality characteristics, to make sure that they actually fit into the scheme of what we're trying to accomplish in the office. And I can tell you this, every staff member at this point, after our meeting this last Friday with our consultant, everyone seems to be super excited. They feel like they're going to have better direction. They feel like they're going to end up enjoying their jobs more because they have the proper instruction in how to do things inside of the office and how each department is going to start working together better, because we just never had that before. As you can see from my personality style, I'm the type of person who's like, I just get excited to do things and I can kind of miss some of the details. I think that's why it's so important that when I'm actually administering treatment, I follow my best practice guidelines to a T, because if I don't follow them to a T, I could potentially mess up treatment for my patients. But, you know, part of that is that I spend so much time in my office working with my patients that I don't spend a whole lot of time outside of my office making sure that every little tiny aspect of the clinic is working the way that it should. And so that's how I think that we're going to substantially improve, and I think that it's going to result in a better experience for my patients. Now, I know that there are a lot of you out there who disagree with this whole idea of having a consultant help us clean this stuff up, but the simple fact of the matter is that I feel like already that we're in a better position now than we were 2-3 weeks ago, to be quite honest with you. I think that I'm not happy that we had a bunch of staff changeover, but I'm like super excited. I have not been this excited in a while. I think that the key positions that we hired over the course of this last week are going to have a dramatic positive impact on the way the clinic is functioning at this point. Now, could I be wrong? Could this be a whole entire disaster just waiting to happen? Of course it could be. Do I think it is? No, I don't think it is, but I've been wrong before, and I don't foresee me never being wrong again, so I potentially could be wrong about this whole thing. But I'm really excited to know that we have a plan going forward. We have guidance, we have advice that we can leverage off of as we continue to build up this clinic to be what I want to be, is the premier, hearing clinic in the entire world, essentially. That's my goal. And as you know from my personality, like, I'm a visionary, but sometimes I need help to achieve that vision. I've done really well as an influencer on social media, on YouTube, and that's because I have a lot of energy and I'm really passionate about this stuff. But there's things about growing an actual brick and mortar business that is serving people that has its difficulties and its nuances that my personality doesn't necessarily do the best with. So I'm really good at inspiring and driving the vision and having a lot of excitement doing it, but I need people in different key areas that can make sure that everything is getting done the right way. And I truly believe that just like there's best practices when administering treatment to an actual patient from a hearing loss perspective, I think that there's best practices when it comes to administering a clinic in the right way, or having the front of house and back of house, that relationship and just everything that we do from a processes and policies. I think there's best practices with that as well. It's just I didn't know what those were. And that bothers me because I am so high on doing what research has proven to be the most effective way of doing things. And we just were not doing that from a front office perspective for the past, well, how long we've been in business? Like 4 years, just over 4 years at this point. So I'm really excited to kind of see, where we're going. There's going to be a lot more things being implemented. I think a lot of them are going to be favorable. I think that the staff loves that they get to have input in this entire process. It's not like we're just told, oh, this is what you do, go do it. It's like this is an inclusive process where everyone on the staff gets to collaborate together to make the workplace what they want it to be as well, as long as they're staying within the vision of what we want to achieve. So I'm super excited. I appreciate all the words of support and all the critiques. I get to learn from your guys' critiques as well and your opinions as well, so I appreciate that. One thing I have not asked you guys to do yet here is hit that thumbs up button. If you could, that makes sure that these videos get a bunch of likes on them, so it forces their way into other people's feeds who wouldn't normally watch my content. So that really helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate it. But I think that I've rambled on enough. Make sure you go ahead and check out my disc profile in the description below. And as always, I'll see you next week.